This is Dementia Air Network, brought to you by Beyond Dementia Coalition, and I'm your host, Bruce Leyton. This interview is part of our 2025 Symposium interview series, recorded during the second annual Northeast Georgia Dementia Symposium, hosted by Beyond Dementia Coalition and Alzheimer's Association. Hello, everyone. I'm honored to welcome Nancy Fowler, admissions counselor and instructor with the Ivester College of Health Sciences School of Occupational Therapy. Did I have that right? I want to make sure first
Brenau
of all.
University.
At Brenau University, okay. Thank you. And if I keep saying all those words, we might not have time for the interview, but we're good. I'm just kidding with you. This is meant to be very informal. And also with me is Victoria Loudermilk, an assistant professor at the School of Occupational Therapy, Brenau University.
You got it.
Okay. Did you give your presentation already today?
We did.
So the presentation was on dementia-friendly home modifications, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a number of questions around that, but do you want to give us some context for that in terms of why you're talking about that topic and why it's important? Can we start there?
So I think one of the hardest things with an aging parent is what to do with the home to help them stay at home safely. And so a lot of people, when they think of home modifications, they think of the big bulldozers coming in and knocking down walls and refinishing the bathroom and changing the structure of the home, when really there's a lot of not really high-tech things that you can do to make it more manageable for somebody to stay at home. So people often don't think of the low-tech things that they can do for their home. And so that was one of the things that we really wanted to talk about, was some of the low-cost, low-tech options that are out there that are available for those with dementia that want to stay at home.
Got it. And also, do you address safety?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. That's the main thing that we look at, is how to keep them safe. That's the priority.
It's important.
One of the other things we focused on was the making things safe and easier for the caregiver. Because as a person progresses with dementia, they are going to need a caregiver if they want to stay in that home. And anything that makes life easier and more safe for the caregiver makes things better for the person living with dementia.
So if we're in the home with somebody and they need some modifications, there's a lot of assessments out there that have like checklists that we can go through with them with some recommendations. And then there's some specialists out there that can do some of the high-tech remodeling and kind of work as kind of the project manager if that's something that they're looking at. As well. But for us, what we really look at is, what is the safety concerns? And so what we'll do is come into the home and walk around with the caregiver and the client if needed, and sort of see kind of the safety concerns and make those recommendations as we walk through the house as we assess it.
So what is Brenau University's position in all this? Are you actually out in the field, or are you making recommendations, or do you have a staff that works on this?
So typically when we are out in the field, we are with students, supervising students. So with a field work situation or something like that, we will take students. Or we might come to a venue like this and share information with people if they're having a hard time finding a specialist OT who can do this. We can be the OT in the room for them and help them a little bit, because a lot of these things are kind of common sense, aren't they, Victoria? Mm-hmm. Just here's some checklists. Go through your house and think about this, and then if you need more, you can ask for an OT.
How does dementia differ from everything else you might see in your field and what you're doing?
It's almost an added layer. So there's aging, there's the whole aging process, but then when there's the aging process and then the decline in cognition, it adds a whole nother layer of safety concerns. So it can be really overwhelming for loved ones and caregivers. It's easy to make those modifications for somebody in regards to safety, but when you're looking at a cognitive decline, it can be so overwhelming. So it's, how do I navigate that? How do I look at all of the different moving parts, and how do I plan for a progression, and how do I, just navigate that in general? So it's just that added layer can be really challenging.
So there are a lot of moving parts to consider, and it sounds like you're also advising students in the field that are actually doing work. Are they're affiliated with Brenau University?
These are our students at Brenau, they're not in the they're not OTs yet.
Got it.
They're learning to become, and so during that process, this is one of the things that we will do with them.
That's fascinating. And so it sounds like it's also kind of an intergenerational program, right? Do you find the students, and if I'm mischaracterizing it,
well, the students have to learn. It's important for them to learn to work with anybody across the entire lifespan because that's what OTs do.
There we go.
And that will be on their registration exam when they graduate and have to pass that exam to become registered OTs. So
Got it.
Every experience they have with any age group is important for them. So this is just one more bit of that.
Yeah, we teach them to be what we call client-centered, which is looking at the client. But I often tell them it's so much more than just the client. It's who's caring for them as well.
Yeah.
So that can be, their children. That can be their parents. It could also be their siblings. So it's looking at that whole dynamic, a guardian and all of those caregivers and who they are. So making sure that you're not just treating the client, but you're also making sure that the caregiver is being accounted for. Because we always say if you're not taking care of, the caregiver isn't taking care of themselves, they're not going to be able to successfully care for the client. So we always make sure that they check in on them too.
So if I use the word holistic approach, does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, holistic.
You got it.
You got it.
I was hoping I'd be able to pull that word out. I always like to learn about you individually in terms of what motivated you to get involved in the field, and then number two, what sustained you in terms of the work that you do. And it's not easy work, right? I mean, you might take joy in it. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's not necessarily easy. So
it's been a hard row. I came to this late in life. I began practicing when I was 52. And so I've always worked with older adults, and I feel like I'm one of them. And that helps. It gives me a connection with them, and I'm interested in their independence and autonomy because I want that for myself. So it helps me to advocate for them and to fight for them and to push them sometimes. Think about what you're giving up if you stop doing this or stop doing that. Where do you want to be 10 years from now? Still sitting on the sofa, or do you want to be doing something?
Yeah. So I've heard that term so many times today, advocate.
Yes.
So either advocate for yourself or others, and it's so important. And to have the energy to do that sounds like you're motivated and energized by it. Yeah.
By that,
so,
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was not raised by my grandparents, but I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up, and I really got to know them, and I just really loved having them, have a huge presence in my life. And so I was very different from most of my classmates in that I knew I wanted to work with geriatrics. And so most of my classmates were all about pediatrics. And so I really had a passion about working with older adults. So I really wanted to be able to inspire that passion onto other students. So that's kind of what kind of drove me into teaching. Is I know you probably all want to do pediatrics, but let me show you what's really great about older adults. And so being able to inspire them. As far as helping older adults, there's nothing more fulfilling than being able to see them achieve goals at any age. And to know that no matter how old you are, no matter where you are in life, you're always going to be able to achieve a goal, and it brings so much joy to my life. So it's just been a really joyful job and a really great career, and I wish everybody could feel that way about their career. So
I hear it. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is great. Well, I'm going to say Victoria and Nancy, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Good having you here.
Thank you.